We had a look over the sort of very brief story that you sent over initially. I just wanted to know, really, sort of, did you have much of a belief in aliens and extraterrestrials and things like that before the encounter, or?
Well, I've always been very spiritual. So, you know, at the age of 8 years old, I stole my dad's tarot deck and I was like playing with tarot cards, and I was always able to see auras. And, I just thought everyone could see energy around stuff. So, I started, drawing people's auras at a young age and stuff like that. And then I really went through a major spiritual awakening. But in regards to the aliens, not really. There was not really any like belief or structure or even interest in aliens.
And obviously we connected on Facebook a few days ago, which is why I obviously picked up on your story. This particular one happened in December 2016, is that right?
Yeah, okay. So it was the 12th of the 12th, 2016. And so I was just going to sleep and I felt very drowsy, but this was a different type of drowsiness that I felt. And instantly I felt like another presence was in the room, right? So I was just in my room alone in my bed and I just was feeling very drowsy. I actually, proceeded to get up, and I have 2 children. So I just wanted to go check, like, I'm like, well, I'm about to crash out. Just want to make sure that they're asleep. They were both asleep. I was very drowsy. I was like, what? I haven't even, done much today. Why am I so drowsy? Lay down in bed and, I just had this thought. I'm like, imagine if like there's something like putting a sleep spell on me. And then the thought of like aliens came in and I was like, oh my God. And I was paralyzed. All of a sudden I couldn't get up. I was fully paralyzed in the bed. And I do remember visualizing, and this is before the regression and everything, this is in the moment on the 12th of the 12th. I remember visualizing, like with my mind's eye, 2 tall blue alien beings on either side of me. And then there was 4 little like short little gray aliens, very typical that you would see on a movie and stuff, right? Just like very typical. Yeah. Although in truth, I'd never seen these blue ones on any show, but anyway, and yeah, the little gray ones were like, just like touching me and like just doing things all over me. And it felt really invasive. And I was freaking out. Like I could feel like my heart was pulsating. And, by this point I knew I was like, I'm being freaking abducted. Something's going on here. And, telepathically, the blue aliens were just telling me to like, be calm. And they, kind of showed me like when an animal gets taken to the vet, they may freak out. They don't know why they're being taken to the vet, but they're being taken to be healed. So that was the kind of notion. Again, there was no word spoken. It was more so like telepathic, and I'd never had this type of experience before. And then I was out and gone. So that's all I remember in that moment. When I woke up the next morning, straight away I remembered the incident when I was going to sleep. And I was just lying there, and I remember feeling like I'd been asleep for about 3 days. There was just this overwhelming feeling. Like I even checked the date. I was like, was I abducted? It was the next day though. It was fine. And just, I was lying there and I started itching, like in between here. And it was really itchy and I could feel something. So I looked in the mirror. I actually have the photo here if you want me to show it up.
Yeah, we'll put that up on the screen for the guys as well when we're watching it. So that's absolutely fine.
Okay, yep. So then I looked in the mirror and there was this triangle stamp thing on me, these 3 dots and then 1 in the middle. So straight away I uploaded this photo on to a group on Facebook. And, there was all different reflections, like similar to what I've done recently. I put the photo back up because I'll get to why, it's taken 4 years now to come back around to it. But, a lot of people are saying, measure the distance between the dots. And if it's precise measurement, it's more likely that it's going, it's been like an alien stamp or something. And I remember when I was measuring the distance, like the last distance, I was like, if this is precise, I'm going to freak out. And it was completely precise. It was like 1.5 centimeters between the outside triangles, and then 1 centimeter between, precisely 1 centimeter. So that really,
what do you
I was
then? But what was just so we get an idea, how did you do the research on the dots and the distances between them?
That was someone's comment on my photo when I uploaded it to like an alien abduction group on Facebook. Someone said, measure it, and if it's a precise measurement, it's more likely that it's an instrument that an alien has stamped you with. And, again, I'm very open-minded. So, I was just allowing these things to come through. But by this point, when I did the measurements, I was like in panic mode. And my mum lived across the road at the time. So, I was running across the road to my mum's house. I was about to tell my mum, like, I think I've been abducted by aliens. And as I was walking across the road, I remember feeling like I was being watched. And I remember looking up in the sky behind me. I was expecting to see a UFO. Like, at this point, I was just like, anything could happen now after this. So I didn't see anything in the sky, but as soon as I turned back around and proceeded to walk over to my mother's house, I felt like I was shot in the back of the leg with, all I can explain as a BB gun. And there was actually a little, instantly, like, I remember like it hurt. So I grabbed my back of my calf on my left leg. And, I lifted up my pant leg, and instantly there was a mark. There was a red mark, and there was like a little pellet, like a little rock, like in my leg. So, I went over to my mom's house and, told her. She thought I was crazy. So there was a few people in the town that I ended up, talking to about it, and they felt the pellet, the little thing in my leg. We did some research, and I found some YouTube videos where they explained, people have had these things cut out before and they're not of Earth origin. So I found that really interesting. I tried to find someone that could cut it out, but within 2 weeks, it just slowly was going into my body and it disappeared. So within 2 weeks, I couldn't feel this little pellet thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was about it. That all happened within, 48 hours.
Wow.
There was another synchronicity in regards to the owls. There was an owl that kept coming to my house and would sit on the power lines, and all my friends witnessed this. This owl every night would come. And, within my research within the aliens, I found that the owl is a synchronicity for UFO abductions. So, that was another weird synchronicity. And then I kind of just suppressed it because it felt very invasive. Like I was like, I don't want to be abducted. So I just kind of suppressed it until recently. So
I suppose it's kind of like almost like the Twin Peaks. The owls are not what they seem, or what was that film where they were talking about the vision of the owl looking like the sort of Zeta Reticuli alien with the big eyes and the big head.
I'd never noticed that.
Oh well, one thing I did notice, because in the story that you sent over, you said. Was it Altarians that you used the expression?
Arctarians, from what I gather, it was the Arctarians, the blue beings. And, they explained even through my regression session today that, it was an ascension tool that they had implanted me with. And, in the end, I knew it wasn't a negative thing because the 2 weeks after I had that stamp, I was in euphoric bliss state. Like I was so happy for the next 2 weeks. So I was like, naturally, and I was like, well, whatever they did, whoever took me, this is a positive thing. And again, I remember the analogy, how they said, it's like an animal being taken to the vet. But yeah, the Arctarians come through, and I've channeled them a few times. But again, still my ego kind of blocks it, and I feel like I would like to work with someone else to really help me, because my ego just questions it and judges it so much, and I feel crazy. So
well, it's not crazy. What I would question though is they were saying to you about kind of like being an animal being taken to a vet. So do you think it was obviously you felt quite blissful afterwards? So you would say it was almost a sort of healing procedure for you, or?
I do feel like it was a healing procedure, and from what they've told me, again, it's an ascension tool, and they can activate it. And they've told me that when they activate it, the dots come back and it becomes itchy. And this has happened about 3 or 4 times over the 4 years. The dots come back and it's very itchy again. So the physical dots are there again. So that I found strange. I'm not totally understanding what's going on, but from what I learned, from what I'm aware of, they're learning through humans, because they made it quite clear that humans hold specific keys to the origin of this universe.
Sorry, would you mind repeating that, because the connection cut out slightly?
Just the last 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
I know, this usually happens when I say the most profound things. The technology just
I was
cuts
blocking
out.
the signal.
Blocking the signal. So they made it clear that the reason they again, there's different races that do different things. The Octarians are a very high vibrational race, a collective, and they had told me that humans are very specific. They don't want to use the word special. They say very specific, because humans hold keys to the origin of this universe.
Wow.
So I found that very profound.
No, definitely. And and you were saying you've had a sort of specific hypnotic regression. Was that yesterday or earlier on?
That was today. Yeah.
Brilliant. And I mean, did that bring much about, or I mean, what did you get?
Yeah, so that allowed me to go deeper into, she took me back to the 12th of the 12th, 2016. And again, I went over the moments of when I was falling asleep, but then I was allowed to see, where they took me. So I was like, well, I have children. I don't want my children coming to my bed at night and seeing I'm not there. And they're like, that's not how it works. We take you and put you back in the same time, space, reality, like time's an illusion, like all that trippy stuff. But today in the regression, I saw some really profound things. I was on a mothership on a floating slab, and there were the little greys that had been assessing me. They were kind of like playing me like an instrument, right? And then when we got to this mothership, they were playing this machine. So everything that they had done on me, they were then putting into another machine. And there was another grey, a little grey that had like this diamond, things that I've never seen before. And it was like spinning. But these little greys were like technicians that were under the command of the Octarians. And, then the Octarians, showed me my purpose, my specific purpose here on Earth. And, it is to help move. It's just the generalized thing to create heaven on earth, to help heal Mother Earth, save Mother Earth, and really move us into a state out of the ego construct mind into a more heart-centered reality.
When did you last
see it come back?
Yeah,
probably about a month ago it came back, and it's just so itchy. And everyone says bed bugs or spider bites and all this shit. It's like, well, I've moved houses
yesterday about that. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, I've moved houses.
In a perfect.
I know.
Nation.
Little bed bug goes around and bites you in this perfect triangle. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
And then not only that, along with the fact that, that drowsiness when I was going to sleep, and the fact that I believed I was telepathically communicating with these blue freaking aliens. Like, it's just, for me, because right now I'm fighting my ego, because I'm just like, just surrender to it. Like, I'm already talking about the most trippiest stuff on my YouTube. I don't understand why I've got so much resistance to aliens, but yeah.
When out of interest, when they come back, obviously you're saying they're very itchy. Do you, you were saying before you had this sort of blissfulness come. When they come back, do you get that again? Or does it just...
No, it was, to be honest, that blissful state is my whole driving force. That's why I do what I do, because I believe that there is a space. I believe in the fact that there's an illusion of the Maya, and then there's something called Samadhi, that there's the illusion of the ego construct mind, and then, you move into your heart space. And I believe, and that's what I do every day. I'm meditating. Everything I do is to move into that space. But then again, if you seek Samadhi, you can never find it. So it's this fucking conundrum where, so that's what my work is about, really bringing everyone into a heart-centered space, peace on earth. And it's happening. Like, look at all the You know, the fact that this isolation and, you know, even COVID itself, I see that as Mother Earth like purging, and I see Mother Earth like purging the cancer that is us. We either get on board and save her, you know, or we're going to be eradicated, like ultimately. So
see, I have my fears about this. I have my fears that we're building a machine god, which
something like the Terminator,
which is
same.
I think is dangerous.
Same.
I think
Well, we're already cyborgs. Look at us.
Yeah, exactly.
We walk around with this phone, like.
Yeah. They're just not in our heads yet, but they're about to announce.
Yeah, I know.
Apparently, they're going to put chips in, but there we go.
Well,
see, like with my line of work, I believe we can do it naturally. I believe this external thing, you know, is, again, the ego likes to create things externally, but I believe, you know, everything's created within, and then you'll see the manifestation of that without. But
did anything come up about them actually using their own voices in any way at all, like when you were with them?
So this is a thing that I get asked all the time, because I am a psychic intuitive and stuff. And they say, people ask me like, do you hear voices? You know, I don't hear voices. It's like vibrational blocks of information. That's the only way I can explain it. And, you know, it's telepathy. It's just telepathy. It's hard to explain, but no, I don't necessarily hear their voices. However, there is another collective consciousness from Sirius B. They're called Scion. And again, I have so much resistance. My ego is just fighting even saying this, but you know, I've been channeling them for a while, and I do speak about this on my YouTube channel with confidence. So it's weird being on the other spectrum now, getting interviewed. I can just feel my ego, but you know, they are a collective that talk to me telepathically, and they've just explained it like, you know, we're like, it's like I've tuned into their radio you know, signals, so I can receive this knowledge and whatnot. But yeah, so that's another different collective from Sirius B. So
no, thank you. I really appreciate you telling us the story as well, because it can't be an easy thing to talk about. And I respect anyone that kind of open themselves like that and tell us a bit more about it.
I think it's really interesting as well to have someone like yourself who's obviously very interested in looking at this from a sort of outside perspective, because, you know, most people are either already very well immersed in aliens and UFOs and that sort of mind state, or completely clueless. So I think the fact that you have this sort of understanding and this spirituality definitely adds an extra element. It would be good actually if you could tell us a little bit more about your YouTube show and what it is you go through on that.
So, you know, that went through the twin flame experience. I didn't know what was going on, so I hopped on YouTube and just started expressing my story. And then I found many people that were experiencing the same twin flame experience. You know, and I started doing tarot readings and energy readings, and, you know, I just accumulated this following because everyone was like, oh my God, like everything you're channeling and reading is spot on. And so then I really branched out from just twin flames, and I now do like horoscope reads. I do 5D collective reads, because, you know, I'm aware, and I do believe we're going through a great awakening. We're moving through an ascension right now. Again, when people say like we're moving from 3D, 4D to 5D, like I just view that as the ego labeling it out. Like I view everything as energy. So, you know, each to their own. I don't judge if people want to call it we're moving into the 5D, whatever. But yeah, I also recently started a podcast on there with a group that I created called Ascension Diaries. So it's just beautiful like minds from all around the world, and we just get on and we speak about anything. Recently, we've actually been speaking about the aliens. We haven't done a live thing yet in regards to it, again, because you know, it's just resistance, because yeah, I don't really understand why I've got so much resistance. I feel like it's because when I'm channeling, you know, like I'll get a deity or a god or a goddess come in, and I'll really be able to embody their energies, like Kali and, you know, Ganesh and, you know, even like Jesus, and like different aspects and consciousnesses will come in. But when it comes to aliens, it kind of freaks me out because they're physical. Yeah. And, you know, they can be physical, because when I channel this collective consciousness from Sirius, they make it clear. I say, are you physical? Like, where are you from? And they say, we're non-physical, we're a collective consciousness, we're celestial beings, but we can materialize. So a lot of them say they can, but it just kind of freaks me out. But, you know, again, they're making it very clear, they're coming through very strongly that there is going to be a mass disclosure soon, and that, you know, we will see them physically. And I feel like my ego is having a hard time accepting that. I feel like that's what's going on.
I think it's kind of like a, you know, three-dimensional being casting a two-dimensional shadow, a fourth-dimensional being casting a three-dimensional shadow, and moving upwards. So I suppose you could explain away the material form.
Came through then in regards to the dimensional shift. They're actually stating that they are like here, but we can't see them. Like, we don't have the eyes to see them. And, you know, when we raise our consciousness and we reach a certain level, we will be able to experience them. But yeah, it's just the fact that we can't see them. Some people can. And I've had friends that, you know, have stated that they've, you know, they're like, oh, I've been standing next to someone and I can see a UFO, but they can't see the UFO. So it's kind of like, you know,
it's a funny when it comes down to different channels and vibrations that people can pick up. And I guess it's both a blessing and a curse, really. It's the gifted and the damned, isn't it? That can see this sometimes. Yeah.
Well, I feel like ever since I've been because I've been able to see auras, the only way I could explain it is that I can see outside the visible light spectrum. I actually believe that I see in the ultraviolet light spectrum. That's just something that I've personally come to, because obviously I don't see infrared, you know. It's like colors, there's like shapes and forms, and I can see people's auras. Like, I can see your auras like right now through the screen and stuff like that.
Really?
Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, you've got a yellow one, you've got a blue one.
Well, me, I've got a yellow one.
You've got a yellow one, yeah.
Is that a good thing?
Well, to be honest, see, I used to do aura analysis. I draw people's auras and then do an aura analysis. But I mean, yeah, if it's only negative if it's like grey, black, and, you know, got these specks of red and stuff. I've only really seen negative ones when people are in heavy, like, addiction or depression, and theirs is just very grey, and the specks of red are like specks of anger, and there's pockets of trauma and stuff. And I'd even like to have you guys on my channel if you want to come. I have 15,000 subscribers. It'd be great to like get you guys on there and collaborate.
We could do a bit of cross promotion as well, because we are very much. We've only really started this very, very recently.
I feel I've got a sense that you guys are going to be very big. So
thank you. That's really kind.
I think so. We really want to take it. Our whole thing. Because there's a lot of shows out there about aliens and the paranormal, and this is why we call it aliens and stuff, because it's not just going to be about aliens and UFOs. We're going to be doing it about other things, paranormal.
You know, on my readings and stuff, when I'm doing the 5D collective reading, so I do twin flame, horoscope, soul flame, which is about meeting a soul tribe and stuff, and then 5D collective readings. And when you get into the 5D collective, like when you get into the 5D consciousness reads, there's always this theme of star seeds. And, you know, I've got these tarot cards, they're Lemurian tarot cards actually, and oracle cards, sorry. And they, you know, the message that keeps coming through for everyone, for my channel, for my subscribers, is connect to your starseed origin, connect to, you know, these aliens. And then, you know, one of my friends actually said, well, why don't you practice what you preach? Like, why aren't you connecting to your starseeds? You've had these experiences. Why are you just suppressing them? And I was like, oh, fuck, all right, I'll get back into it. And that's why I'm here now. And it's just been this roller coaster thing. Like, it's just, it's been really profound actually. So, yeah.
Amazing. No, well, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you so much for chatting.
And we'd love to come on your show as well.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. I'm going to be checking your channel out, and
I subscribed yesterday, so we'll do that.
All right, cool. Thanks. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Stay in touch, all right?
All right, stay in touch. Say goodbye.
Nice to speak to you.
Bye. Bye.